Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a Dutch day, but not just a Dutch day, but a Dutch cultural, geographical day. Holland versus the Netherlands. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Welcome to the great nation of Holland, where the tulips grow, the windmills turn, the breakfast is chocolatey, the people industrious, and the sea tries to drown it all. Except this country isn't Holland. It's time for the difference between Holland, the Netherlands, and a whole lot more.
Before we get into this video, I have been confused as to Holland and the Netherlands. I always call your country the Netherlands. I remember Holland was used a lot more when I was younger, but however, there are a lot of people that still use Holland, because I watched this. She's from your country, and she rides her motorcycle. I'm quite into motorcycles, or I'm getting into motorcycles at the moment. And she rides her motorcycles all around the world, and she does adventure biking and goes on adventures, different countries. Really, really cool channel. And basically, she calls her home Holland. Sometimes she says the Netherlands, because people ask her, because she'll go to Africa, to an African country, and they'll be like, oh, where are you from? And she says, oh, I'm from Holland. And they're like, where? And she's like, from Holland. And they're like, oh, from Holland? And she's like, the Netherlands. So it's interesting that she leads with Holland first, and then the Netherlands. I don't know the differentiation. I just know the Netherlands is a newer name than Holland. I don't know how you got to the name the Netherlands. I don't know the history. I don't know nothing. It's just that I know you had two names, or you still have two names. I'm not too sure. So I'm very excited for this video, because I've always wondered what the hell is the difference between Holland and the Netherlands. So let's see.
The correct name for this tulip-growing, windmill-building, hagelslag-eating, container ship-moving, ocean-conquering nation is the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But confusion is understandable. The general region has been renamed a lot over 1,000 years, including as the Dutch Republic, the United States of Belgium, and the Kingdom of Holland. But it's not just history that makes this country's name confusing, because the Netherlands is divided into 12 provinces. Groningen, Drenthe, Overijssel, Gelderland, Limburg, Noord-Brabant, Zeeland, which by the way is the Zeeland that makes this Zeeland new, Friesland with adorable little hearts on its flags, Flevoland, Utrecht, and here's the confusion, North Holland, and Zuid-South Holland. These provinces make calling the Netherlands Holland like calling the United States Dakota. Though unlike the Dakotas, which are mostly empty, save for the occasional jackalope, the two Hollands are the most populated provinces and have some of the biggest attractions like Amsterdam and Kokenhof. Chances are...
Interesting. So the biggest places, the most populous places of the Netherlands is the Holland part, North Holland and South Holland. And because the whole country was called Holland, you still kind of use Holland? Or people from that region still kind of use Holland? I'm guessing. Let's see.
If it's Dutch and you've heard of it, it's in one of the Hollands. Even the government's travel website for the country is holland.com, officially because it sounds friendlier, but unofficially it's probably what people are actually searching for. Confusion continues because people who live in the Hollands are called Hollanders, but all citizens of the Netherlands are called Dutch, as is their language. But in Dutch, they say, Nederlands spreken de Nederlanders in Nederland, which sounds like they'd rather we call them Netherlanders speaking Netherlandish. Meanwhile, next door in Germany, they're Deutsche sprechen Deutsch in Deutschland, which sounds like they'd rather be called Dutch. This linguistic confusion is why Americans call the Pennsylvania...
That's not a linguistic confusion. Americans are just silly. Deutsch and Dutch are two different things. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't understand. Deutschland, German is German. Deutsch is German. Like, Dutch is different. That's an American problem. That's not... We understand that in the UK, don't worry. Anyways.
Dutch, even though they're Germans. To review, this country is the Netherlands, its people are Dutch, and they speak Dutch. There is no country called Holland, but there are provinces of North and South Holland.
Right.
Got it? Great, because it's about to get more complicated. The Netherlands is part of a kingdom with the same name, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, which is headed by the Dutch royal family. The Kingdom of the Netherlands contains 3 more countries, and to find them we must sail from the icy North Sea to the Caribbean and Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin. These are no territories, but self-governing countries within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and as such they have their own governments and their own currencies.
Which is crazy. They have their own government's own currency, but they're part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Ugh, colonization. It did happen. I mean, the UK still owns I think it's the British Virgin Islands, and then it has the Commonwealth countries like Jamaica and St. Kitts and all these other Caribbean islands. So I don't know. But I've always wanted to go to Aruba and Curacao and St. Martin because they're meant to be very beautiful islands. Very beautiful islands. And on cruise ships, if you go on a cruise, there's a lot of cruises that go from the UK and they go through... no, they sail from Barbados and they go through Aruba and Curacao. So I'd love to go and visit one day. But yeah, it's interesting that they're part of your country. Do you guys go there? Do you visit often? It's funny because we don't actually, in England, even though the British Virgin Islands and I think it's the Cayman Islands, are part of the UK, they don't have that many British visitors. They're quite popular for people that have a lot of money. So I wonder if it's the same in the Netherlands. Is it people that have the dosh that go to these islands, not necessarily the average people from the Netherlands? You know what I mean? Let me know in the comment section below.
Perfect geek side note here. While Aruba and Curacao are islands, St. Martin is just the southern half of a tiny island also named St. Martin, the other half of which is occupied by France and also named St. Martin.
No way.
So despite being separated by Belgium on the European map, the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the French Republic share a border on the other side of the world on an island so nice they named it thrice. But why?
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Imagine an island, a tiny little island, and you've divided this island amongst yourselves. Oh, colonization was not good, was it? Do you know what I mean? At least just give them back their independence. Like, what the imagine being on an island and literally drawing a border on a tiny island. 2 European nations. Like, I don't know. Anyways, let's not go in the past. It is what it is.
Does the Kingdom of the Netherlands reach to the Caribbean anyway? Because empire. In the 1600s, the Dutch, always looking to expand business, laid their hands on every valuable port they could. For a time, America's east coast was New Netherland with its capital city of New Amsterdam. There was New Zealand, as mentioned previously, and nearby, the King of the Islands, New Holland. Though the empire is gone, these 3 Caribbean nations remain. And while 4 countries in one kingdom isn't unheard of, it doesn't stop there because the country of the Netherlands also extends its borders to the Caribbean and 3 more islands: Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. These are not countries in a kingdom, but are cities in the country of the Netherlands, and they look the part. Residents of these far-flung cities vote in elections for the Dutch government just as any Hollander would, though...
That's so weird. That's weird. So you have like those little remote areas where... Fair enough. I don't know. It always tends to be the Caribbean. Like, you know, like these empires, these old empires are defunct now. Apart from these islands, because they're such small islands and really they're not able to be self-sufficient a lot of the time. You know, they enjoy the support from the mainland countries. You know, they need resources from there. We tend to hold on to those countries. Like the UK have held on to a lot of Caribbean nations. Spain, I think, still... Have they? I think Spain might be the only one that hasn't held on to their Caribbean nations. But yeah, a lot of European countries, France has, the Netherlands have held on for dear life, these colonies.
Weirdly, they don't belong to any province, and they don't use the Dutch currency of euros. They use dollars instead. It's kind of like if Hawaii wasn't a state, but technically part of the District of Columbia, all the while using yen. These cities of the country of the Netherlands and these countries in the Kingdom of the Netherlands are together known as the Dutch Caribbean, and their citizens are Dutch citizens, which, because the Kingdom of the Netherlands is a member of the European Union, means that these Dutch Caribbeans are also Europeans. So
Oh, okay. They're also European. That's pretty... I'm not sure if that's the case with the British Virgin Islanders and the Cayman Islanders. I'm not sure if that makes them British citizens also, but maybe. I'm not sure though. But that's so upsetting that these Caribbean nation people have British, European, members of the European Union, and we're no longer members of the European Union. I will never let that go. I'm still trying to figure out how to rejoin the EU. I am still, and there's a lot of people that are British, born in Britain, whatever, and we're trying to figure out how to become members of the EU again. And I figured out the only way I can do that is if so what we can do, I don't know if you guys know about this whole EU stuff, in the sense of the UK shares a border with Ireland. Now, Ireland are still EU members, a part of the European Union. Because we share a border with Ireland, and Northern Ireland is part of the UK, and the southern part of Ireland is its own republic. It was really hard during Brexit because they share a border. There's a freedom of movement of people up and down this island, and they need to continue that. They continue trading and continue moving back and forth. So there's this kind of back door into the EU, and we've kept the back door open. So what does that mean? That means people in Ireland can live and work in Northern Ireland. They can live and work in the UK. They can come to England, Scotland, Wales, wherever, and work. And that means we also can live and work in Ireland. We can move there. We can buy property. We can do all that sorts of stuff. So we have a back door into the EU. If I live and work, say if I just move tomorrow to Ireland, live and work in Ireland, and I want to say it's like 5 years. And if I live and work there for 5 years, I can then apply for an Irish passport. If I get an Irish passport, I'm back in the EU, baby. But that is the easiest way to get an EU passport if you don't have like grandparents who are Irish or grandparents who are from somewhere in Europe. That's the easiest way for a British person, a UK, someone from the United Kingdom, to get a EU passport. So we have a back door still. It's weird because we still have an open border with the EU through Ireland. It's just stupid. I don't know why we decided to leave. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't vote to leave, by the way. And nor did nearly half the country voted to stay. So it's very, very split, 50-50. Back then it was very split, 50-50. Today, if you did another vote today, it would be like 60-40, maybe 70-30 to rejoin. It's just one of those things, though. Hey. Anyways, let's continue. Sorry, I just digressed and ranted for whatever reason.
In the end, there are 6 Caribbean islands, 4 countries, 12 provinces, 2 Hollands, 2 Netherlands, and 1 kingdom. All Dutch.
Wow. Okay, this ended. Let me know. This is nice music. I just feel like I should let the music run. Yeah, guys, let me know if you go on holiday. This is what I really want to know, because obviously these islands are part of your nation. Do Dutch people regularly go on holiday to the Caribbean, to Aruba and Curacao and all those places? Let me know. And St. Martin, let me know. Do you do that? Because we don't do that. We don't go to the British Virgin Islands, and we don't go to the Cayman Islands. Funnily enough, the only like British nation, Caribbean nation we go on holiday to is Jamaica, and Jamaica is it was formerly part of the UK. It hasn't been part of the UK, I think, since the 60s, 50s, 60s. It's now part of the Commonwealth. That's another thing for another day. But yeah, it's interesting. We don't actually go to the islands that are part of the UK. So let me know in the comment section if you go to the Caribbean islands on holiday, or is it too expensive? Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.